Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today I want to do a little bit of a discussion, but a little bit of a rant, kind of a mix in between somewhere in there, where I'm talking about the current state of the game and the mobile release and what I want for the game. And I am not going to lie, I have no idea what I'm going to title this, but I do have a couple of notes written down, and I just want to read through my notes and talk about the game. So, in my opinion, the game is in a pretty bad spot, which is so weird to say considering just how good the gameplay is. Now, I do want to, like, I always talk about this. I will always bring up issues that I have with the game, but I will always try to make note of the things that I think the game is doing very, very well, and I will always try to offer solutions to things. I don't just want to be rambling and raging and fear-mongering or doom and glooming the game. That's not what I'm trying to do. I do want to talk about like what's going on in the game and what I'm not super happy with. So there is, in my opinion, there's like a few ways that people engage in a game like Pokemon Unite. It's like a spectrum, if you will. On one side of the spectrum, you have what I would call the ultra casual players. Very, very casual. They just want to play the Pokemon. Some of them are probably children, which is totally fine. No hate against them, but I want to make that clear. It might be people like kids playing with their parents or couples playing together, whatever the case may be. It's that casual side of things. You don't really care about ranking up. You're not really worried about if you have the most optimal build. You're just having fun on the game. The game is a fun game. I will never take that away from the game. The gameplay is phenomenal. And that is one side of the spectrum. Then, on the opposite side of the spectrum, you have the players that tend to be much more serious. Players that want to climb the ranked mode or want to hit masters. You have the furthest end is the competitive teams that are playing in tournaments, 2, 3, 4 times a week. I think there's a tournament going on right now. You have, TTV and Sanji Force team and Ryan's team. You have all these teams that are like truly investing a lot of time, a lot of effort into perfecting their craft in terms of playing the game as a coordinated group. These are your ladder grinders, the people that want to be known as the best players in the world. This is your furthest, like, right side of the spectrum. And then somewhere in the middle, you have a nice, healthy mix. Players that, maybe split their gameplay between like quick matches or like the quick play maps and, standard, a little bit of ranked here and there. They're probably hovering like around, expert or, maybe even veteran, like, just people that like play around the full game. They kind of get to experience a little bit of everything. And then that kind of is a little left leaning, central, like left leaning, and then center right leaning are, where I would kind of like to categorize myself is where I take the game very, very seriously, but I'm not playing tournaments. I'm not playing competitively. I'm not 5-stacking every night. I like taking ranked very, very seriously within like a bubble. Like, I like playing solo queue. I like playing duo queue, trio queue. I like trying really, really hard and wanting to win most of my games, but I call it kind of like casually competitive. I'm very competitive, but I do it on a much more casual side of things than, 5-manning and sticking to my main role and sticking to my main character every single game, having 90% of my games played on one character, which, yes, there are people that do that. 90% of their games are played on one character because they're just optimizing their team comp and they're just playing the same comp every single game. Which, again, totally fine. And that's kind of the spectrum. And then there's people that fill in between, obviously, because it's a spectrum. That's the spectrum of players. I feel like if you're not on the far left side casual, and if you're not on the far right side competitive, the game kind of leaves something wanting. Like, there's something to be desired. For me, on the like casually competitive side of things, I just don't enjoy the ranked mode. Like, it's not good. It is, in fact, it's actually incredibly bad. But it's weird because it's only bad over time. Like, when the game first came out, the grind to masters was honestly fine. I couldn't really feel the implications of bot matches and of performance points. And even now, I don't think performance points are that huge of a deal. I just think it's a silly system. Like, it's just a feel-good system, right? It's a dopamine system. When you feel like you had a good game, but your teammates kind of like weren't great, and so they give you your little kick of dopamine because, they sponge a loss for you. Like, oh damn, you did good, man. Like, don't feel bad about it. Like, it's kind of like that. As for bot games, there's really no excuse. When we first found out that bot games were in ranked, that was a big red flag, and it still is a red flag because it's really telling. It's kind of telling about like what the goal of ranked is for me. And you know, I view this specific ranked mode as a retention-based ranked mode and not a skill-based ranked mode. And what I mean by that is that the game has built these systems, and the way that this ranked mode is set up is to keep people playing it, not to actually accurately depict skill. There is only one scenario in this ranked mode that depicts skill, and it's when you're a 5-man team pushing the ladder against other 5-man teams. Other than that, it's just a hodgepodge mess. Now, I will say that I think if you're getting hard stuck in ranks in this game, you probably are topping out at your skill level, because it is, in my opinion, incredibly easy to climb through this rank system with the amount of just randomness that happens. Like, even if you're not even a Masters yet, you probably will be eventually, so just keep playing, because that's kind of what it feels like to me. But as far as the game goes, they started off so strong. They started off incredibly strong. They were updating the game very, very quickly. They nerfed Gengar, which I think was a knee-jerk reaction, and then they just completely killed off their activity, which is very, very bizarre to me. They were giving us like a patch a week. We got, you know, like a couple character releases now. We've been getting balance patches, and then the Blissey patch hit, and there's something about the Blissey patch that really, I mean, it just rubs me the wrong way. It just feels very tone deaf. It feels like I don't understand how you can release that patch, or why you would even want to. Why would you even publicly, like, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why you would release that patch and give us no information about the future. And basically, there's so many things people are calling for, and whether or not I agree with them, it doesn't even matter. There's so much community feedback to go unaddressed, and release that Blissey patch just feels weird. People want changes to Zapdos. I want changes to jungle meta. I want, you know, changes to all-rounders and speedsters and buffs and nerfs to Lucario and Wigglytuff, and a ton of bug fixes in terms of Unite moves getting reset down to 0%. You know, I mean, even just something like player feedback, like about having a scoreboard. Whether or not they actually ever do it, it doesn't really matter, but there's so much player feedback and concerns. Blastoise damage is too high. Like I said, speedsters don't scale well. All-rounders can't very, very well lane. The jungle's dominated by 2 ranged attackers, really just like 1 ranged attacker. It's just not a good situation. The game went from being incredibly fun and strong, and I think like basically once I hit Masters, I kind of like had time to set in and settle with the game and see what was going to go on. The meta developed, the lack of patches hit, the matchmaking issues became more and more prevalent, and every passing day there is new players in Masters, and every passing day the match quality gets worse and worse and worse, because no one ever falls out of Masters. Everyone's hitting Masters. It's like if everyone's special, no one is, right? Like, if everyone's Masters, aren't we just playing standard queue games? Aren't we literally just standard queue game, like playing with a score attached to it? It just feels weird. The game feels like it hit a brick wall incredibly fast, and that does make me worried. Because, you know, I want to continue to play this game, and I want to continue to cover it and make content for it, and I will. I'm not going anywhere. It doesn't feel existential until it does, and I feel like we're in this weird in-between where I'm debating whether or not this feels existential. But I have to look at the game, and I have to look at the model, and I have to look at the business model and question these decisions, because the reality is this. This game is meant to be a cash cow. It is a free-to-play, no-box cost live service MOBA, which means that it is inherently competitive. It is going to be, you know, they're going to be pushing out these tournaments, or this tournament, this first one, the Japanese one, and seeing how it goes. But it's a game that's meant to be updated. It was a game that was developed specifically to receive support, because if it wasn't, they would have put a box cost on it, because that's how you make your money. You sell the game, people play it, they end development for it, they end support for it, they move on to the next project. But that's not what this game is. It's a free-to-play game. They can sell skins, they can sell characters, they can keep players playing by updating the game and changing systems and doing this and that. So this is all really leading to one thought, and the thought is this. I don't think that the game is having an existential crisis, but I do think that if the mobile release or before that. I mean, we have 10 days, but that's so most likely not. But if the mobile release doesn't bring a gigantic patch, and I mean massive changes to balance, I'm talking changes to systems, I'm talking putting in new content, bringing out a new character, a new Pokemon to play. If this game doesn't do something big to restore faith in the players are not going to have faith in those developers, and some players might leave the game. Being in content, I'm kind of in a unique position where I'm a little bit anchored to the game in a way. I mean, I can always stop playing the game, but I feel responsible to cover the game, and I feel responsible to push myself as a content creator on the game. But the reality is that as a player, if you strip away the whole Krashy brand and making videos and things, as a player, I'm not very excited to get on and play right now. I've done just about everything there is to do. The match quality, like I said, is getting worse by the day. I have no desire to 5-man stack. That's the other thing too. People always say, well, why don't you just 5-man? I don't have a desire to do that. That was never in my plan. I like playing solo queue and duo queue. So, I've got my eyes set on the mobile release, and that's probably what I'm going to title something about the video. Like, my eyes are locked on the mobile release. It's got to be good. It's got to bring some systematic changes, some fundamental changes to how the game is played, to how we experience the game, and I'll be very interested to hear your thoughts as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like I said, what the game does right, it does it very right, and that's the gameplay. That's the pacing. It's the fun. The game is fun. Dude, I have like 1,400, 1,500 games played across 4 accounts. I have 3 accounts in Masters. I play the game, even on my short days, I play the game like 5 hours a day most of the time, and I do love it. I do love the game. So let me know your thoughts. What are you concerned about? What do you need them to do? That's what I want to know. Not just what do you hope they'll do. What do you need them to do? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, friends, be sure to be kind to one another. Tell someone that you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.